Huge day coming up in the Premier League title race. Liverpool play Brighton and then Manchester City host title rivals Arsenal. The Reds would go top if they pick up a point or more against the Seagulls before current leaders Arsenal then head to third place City. For the first time since 2014, just 1 point separates the top three after 28 games played, and it looks likely that we are set to go down to the wire as to who will be lifting the trophy come the end of the season. Ahead of the game at Anfield, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp was asked about the nature of this year's title race.
I think everybody is excited about it, and rightly so. And Anfield will be rocking on Sunday. And that must feel all. We have not only home games, unfortunately, but we have still a few, and we must make the difference. And wherever we go, we have to ignore the fact that it's not a home game. Well, because they're all tricky. Wherever it is, they're all tricky, and we have to play actually our best football and get results. But that's how it is if you want to win the Premier League.
Okay, so this is a 2:00 kickoff between Liverpool and Brighton, Cass. Are you feeling the nerves already? Or
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Liverpool after the defeat at Old Trafford in the Cup.
And how they react.
And they always react, I feel, well with the way they play. They have a system which is a style that's very effective, very attack-minded. They've got a number of injuries that have come back. Liverpool are in a good position to challenge for the title. A good opponent to play. Brighton, I know they've had injuries because Solly March has been a big miss. Matoma has been a big miss for them as well. I weren't quite sure about De Zerbi's comments over the weekend regards to his future at Brighton.
Yeah, well, we've got the quotes.
It's strange.
It is a little odd, and maybe if you're a Brighton fan or involved in Brighton, you might be asking a few questions. But obviously he's been linked with
Liverpool,
Jurgen Klopp's and successor when he leaves at the end of this season. And this is what he had to say, De Zerbi. I have a different way to decide my future. I want to speak with my club. I have a contract, but the problem is not the contract. The problem is to find the same plan, the same target, the same vision for the future. For me, he says, I have not decided yet what is my future because I have the contract. But he says, but anyway, I want to speak with Tony Bloom, the owner, of course, my club, to understand their plan, to understand his plan, the Tony plan. Then we take the decision together without problems. When you're talking about, I've not yet decided my future, essentially, as I said,
you're under contract.
Well, this is it.
You're under contract. It's like, well, surely you've had dialogue about what's the direction of the club, and surely when you sign for the football club, didn't you have a discussion with Tony Bloom about what happens, how it works here? Because it's a very well functioning machine at Brighton. That's proven, and it's been a brilliant ownership that's been put together. And everybody who works for Brighton and the type of players they go after and the amount of money they make on transfers because they produce and move on players brilliantly. I find it. I would find that weird if I was, if any put yourself in a position of listening to someone talk about their ideas of where they think the path is for the club. He would know all of the path before now. It's there for everybody to see. Yeah,
well, especially as we know how well run Brighton are as a club. They are a club that you think and would expect will always have that. Well, what's next? What will happen? Like with any transfers, with any managerial departures, you feel as though they always got the plan in place. So therefore, he would already know roughly. Do you remember the time? Was it Gus Poyet who had a bit of an issue with Brighton when he was manager, right? And I think with Tony Bloom, and allegedly had looked at another job, and it was found out by the ownership, and they weren't happy. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced at all that Tony Bloom will be happy with the way he responded about his contracts in the discussion. Talking about Brighton, I'm not convinced by that at all. I wonder if Brighton fans feel the same. 81089 is the text number if you want to let us know what you make of those comments from Roberto De Zerbi.
Well, think of it this way now. Like, if you're under contract, you say, look, the progress of the club has been brilliant. The way we play football, I enjoy being the manager of. I love to play football on the front foot. I hope the Brighton fans are enjoying it, which they clearly have over the years. I want to see what the objective is in the summer, where we're going. But I'm absolutely 100% behind what the club are doing.
I mean, interestingly, he actually went on to say about wanting to know what the plan is, what the project is. He says, if I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel the right motivation, I can't stay any longer.
Imagine you had a player in front of you as a manager who spoke like that. You'd be thinking, sorry?
It's not.
You
it is an
lose
odd one.
motivation.
Yeah.
I'm lost. I was surprised. When I heard it yesterday, I came away and thought, that's a very strange speech from a manager. If you had a player in front of you and he was saying things like that, you'd be a little bit angry because, you know, you can never lose your motivation. You might lose faith in certain things that happen in the club, but motivation, that's an easy one.
So, look, like I say, it's all come about because of these links with Liverpool. Can you see him taking over?
Not now.
What? So it's because of those comments then?
I just thought it's a weird way to answer questions, Nat. I found it weird to listen to a manager talk, you know, about another club's interest. And, OK, he speaks a lot about Brighton, but I just didn't think it was an inspirational talk for the ownership at Brighton now to even think about, well, maybe he's not a man down further down the line, because I'm sure Brighton have got a plan in place if they lose a manager.
I mean, it's very hard when a big club like a Liverpool come calling for your manager. And I'm sure Tony Bloom and even, you know, rational Brighton fans would say, well, look, it's very hard for anyone to resist that.
I get that. I get all of that.
But there's also a way of dealing with it.
Well, you
and
conduct
managing
yourself in a
situation.
way.
Yeah,
you have to.
It's odd.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a very odd way
there
of-
seems very little loyalty talk.
Yeah.
So if you get the Liverpool job and then one day Barcelona or Real Madrid are interested and you spoke like that, do you think Liverpool fans would be happy about their manager talking about, you know, the ideas that he thinks the club should have? And I don't know. I just thought it was weird. Maybe I'm thinking wrong here, but I totally felt they were unwarranted and questioning the club's direction, because that's what he's doing. If it doesn't fit for him,
Yeah.
well, the grass is greener then, is it? Somewhere else.
Well, we'll see what happens today, of course, because it's a 2:00 kickoff in this game at Anfield for Liverpool against Brighton. Don't forget, a point will take Liverpool to the top of the table for a few hours at least, with Arsenal then heading to Manchester City. We will keep you updated then with what happens in both of those games taking place today.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.